Welcome to Friday evening's edition of Sunset News. In this half hour, we bring you your latest news, stories from the community, economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. My name is Aina Raiza Kweo. In the news tonight, after several failed attempts, the Health Ministry has now announced that it is now on track to set up a dialysis unit in many of the country's public hospitals, while it hopes to install 6 dialysis chairs at the Katutura Hospital TB unit by the end of this financial year. Once these are up and running, the government will be forced to recruit qualified staff from outside Namibia's borders in the meantime, as the country only has a handful qualified staff, which includes a dedicated physician, dialysis nurse, and nutritionist. In our next story, various types of drugs to the value of more than 4 million Namibian dollars were seized last month, while police arrested 106 suspects in connection with the drug matter. Of these suspects, 98 are Namibian, and the rest include 2 South Africans, 2 Zimbabweans, a Congolese, and a Zambian national. Cannabis was the most seized drug, followed by heroin. According to the drug seizure and arrest report for the month of February, more than 4.043 million Namibian dollars in drugs were seized. These include a 140.5 kg of cannabis to the value of more than 1.4 million Namibian dollars, 4.9 kg of heroin valued at 2.48 million Namibian dollars, and 1,219 Mendrex tablets worth more than over 146,000. In our next story, a crypto investment company was able to succeed in High Court in Windhoek this morning in obtaining an order ordering a commercial bank to make enough money available from its frozen bank so that business can continue operating as per usual. The company CBI Exchange Namibia of Conrad Botha, which invests Namibia's investors' money into cryptocurrency, brought an urgent court application after Bank of Namibia ordered Bank Windhoek to freeze its bank account on the 4th of March. An order was given for this pending an investigation in terms of Section 10 of the Bank of Namibia Act. Now, in our next story, President Hage Geingob officially inaugurated the 7th vessel in the Debmarine Namibia fleet, the 7 billion Benguela gem in the port of Walvis Bay this morning. Debmarine Namibia is the single biggest service contributor to the Namibian economy, and the Benguela gem is expected to produce up to 500,000 carats of diamonds annually, generating the revenue of up to 3 billion per annum. Now, in our next story, in the light of celebrating of Namibia's 32nd Independence Day, it might be a good time to revisit the Heroes Acre on the southern fringes of Windhoek as you drive to Rehoboth. It is a memorial also built in remembrance of Namibia's achieving independence and celebrates its own 20th anniversary this year. The architecture of the monument speaks to deeper underlying interpretations and meaning. In our final story, as means to improve Namibia's governmental procurement system, the government enacted the Public Procurement Act 2015. This act does not quite seem to bring about the intended outcomes. The Minister of Finance has now tabled amendments to the Procurement Act, including separating the role of Accounting Office and the Chair of Procurement Board, thus establishing the post of CEO. It would also see the clause being added for regulations that would dedicate criteria for receiving government contracts. Critics described this as an introduction of the controversial EE Act through the back door. In community news tonight, we look at the recently launched Africa Child Development Trust as well as the Secret Sunrise Movement. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sunset News, and this is Community Talk. Yesterday marked the launch of the African Child Development Trust, which was established in response to COVID-19, which led to school closure and halting of face-to-face classes. The trust aims to facilitate the distribution of physical copies or online education resources materials to learners across the country who often cannot access these means of educational material. Namibia Media Holdings' scale and logistical reach has aided cost effectiveness of the project, taking the cost of providing a child with 1 week's worth of learning to $2 Namibian per week. The project was officially launched by the Deputy Minister of Education, Arts and Culture, Faustina Carli. Here, Namibia Media Holdings CEO Albie Botha talks about the African Child Development Trust.
From 2020 to 21, as previously said, we've reached over 360,000 children daily in 12 languages in all 14 regions, over 12 million books. We spent over 50,000 hours in development time to make this happen. We've traveled more than 1.2 million kilometers in this time to make sure that we reach every corner of this country on a daily basis. We reached over 900 schools, over 500 ECDs, which for the record is about 60% of all the childhood development children, but yet there are still 2,000 ECDs we haven't reached, the smaller ones. It's a real challenge to get to everybody. We spent and designed, Teacher Mutse was earlier here, she's been the voice of SOSI. We've made over 18,000 minutes of online training. Yes, we do recognize and we do acknowledge that the future is online. But far too often, funders, individuals, people live for tomorrow and forget about today. The reality on the ground is that reach online does not reach 5% of the children. So 95% of our children are dedicated and required to reach through print. The irony is print is still the best way to learn. The concept of motion and pen and paper is extremely powerful and extremely important. We have spent a lot of time on the academic side of this education, and the project is where it is. But we have to be fair. Education is a lot more than just going to school. It requires us to have an holistic approach on education, the social, emotional, cognitive, and physical needs. And that's why NMH, Namibia Media Holdings, have realized that this project, and trust me, we've done a lot, requires more input. It requires bigger input. It requires more people to be involved. This project is too big for NMH. And yes, we have traveled 1.2 million. And yes, we have printed 12 million books. And yes, we do reach 360,000 children every day.
The Secret Sunrise movement in Namibia is gaining momentum. And if you are up early on Monday morning, don't miss their gathering on Independence Day. For more, let's have a look at this clip.
If you haven't heard of Secret Sunrise or joined the movement yet, you are seriously missing out. This unique concept was born under African skies and has spread throughout South Africa and rippled out to the rest of the world. This ever-growing community can be found in Amsterdam, Bali, Cape Town, Durban, the Garden Route of the Western Cape, the Eastern Cape, Harare, Johannesburg, Mauritius, Munich, Ibiza, London, the Lowveld, Thailand, and right here in Namibia as well. Secret Sunrise is a silent guided dance movement aiming to increase mindfulness, wellness, and basically just to share the joy. In the hustle and bustle of our everyday lives, we often need a space to be free, unwind, and just have a little fun. The aim is to be fully accessible and welcoming to everybody. So why not join the group in Windhoek for a guided dance or an outdoor yoga session and see what they're all about? The group is really best known for encouraging people to gather for an outdoor silent dance and meditation experience, all before the 9 to 5 of the day has begun. Described by Time Out magazine as the best way to start your day, over 50,000 individuals from across the world have joined in for a session, whether it be at sunset or sunrise. With over 16 cities across the world, Secret Sunrise is on a mission to celebrate life through music, movement, and connection. The next session in Windhoek takes place on Monday, Independence Day, at the Village in Lilliancroon Street, and the theme is a pajama party. Check out their Facebook page for more.
In our story of the day, we focus on the recently completed Mandume Ndemfayo interchange. See you soon. Welcome back to Sunset News. The Mandume Ndemfayo interchange on the Windhoek to Hosea Kutako International Airport project will be opened on Saturday, the 19th of March at 9 o'clock in the morning. Motorists are cautioned to adhere to road signage. Yolanda Nell talks to Conrad Mutonga, who is the CEO of the Roads Authority.
We have started the construction of phase 1 of Windhoek Hosea Kutako, which included many interchanges, many bridges. We started in 2016, and I'm happy to say that this year we are winding down to completion of this project. Therefore, today we are announcing that as from tomorrow, the 19th of March 2022, we will be opening what we call the east-western lane, which is from east facing west, but of course it tends to north as you are proceeding. And that runs from Mandume Ndemfayo interchange where we are today, and then it runs through what we for now we call Hobabis interchange, and then it goes all the way up to Aus and then up to Robert Mugabe interchange. What is going to happen is that now the dual carriage will operate fully now, meaning the traffic from east will be using the other carriage, and then the traffic from the north or from the west will be using this. So fully now the road user will use the whole dual carriage all the way up to Robert Mugabe. In fact, it goes beyond Robert Mugabe. It's just that we are busy now with phase 2, what we call phase 2A of Windhoek Hosea. Also phase 2B, which is the final link to the airport. So we are happy that I think the road users will definitely enjoy the ride on this dual carriage fully. Thank you.
When we return from the break, we keep you up to date with economic news. Stay with us. Thank you very much for watching Sunset News. The first investigation relates to the alleged historic fixing of interchange rates through the Payment Association of Namibia by commercial banks. It includes PEN and all other 9 registered commercial banks in the country. The second investigation is against the Bankers Association of Namibia, FNB Namibia, Bank Windhoek, Standard Bank Namibia, and Nedbank Namibia for possible discriminatory conduct, applying dissimilar conditions to equivalent transaction in the provision of fire insurance for home loans and unfair pricing of certain ancillary services. The Commission has engaged all the affected parties and afforded them the opportunity to respond to the allegations. Upon a receipt of the responses of the allegations, the Commission will conduct an assessment to determine the relevant course of action, says the watchdog. Next up, your economic indicators. The Namibian dollar is down against all major currencies. On the NSX, MTC stock is up 0.1%, while Namibia Breweries Limited stock takes a 4.3% dip. The local index closed down on 1.5%, while the overall index had a 0.31% upsurge. All commodities are up save for zinc, which is down with a 0.12%. Now, after the break, we take a look at the weekend's weather forecast. Welcome back to Sunset News. We start off with the weekend's weather forecast with Saturday's predictions. Enana, Oshakati, Ruacana, and Omaruru are partly cloudy throughout the day and the hottest in the country, expecting a maximum of 33 degrees. Rehoboth will also be partly cloudy with a minimum temperature of 15 degrees, as Oranjemund enjoys sunny conditions with a maximum of 28 degrees. And now we move on to Sunday's weather predictions. Rundu can expect some rains with a maximum of 29 degrees, and Ruacana remains the hottest in the country with a maximum temperature of 34 degrees projected. Henties Bay, Swakopmund and Walvis Bay will be partly cloudy, expecting maximum temperatures of 22 degrees, while sunny conditions are expected in Cape Manshwab with a minimum of 18 degrees. In international news slot, the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Thursday blamed NATO for the war in Ukraine and said he would resist calls to condemn Russia. More on that after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sunset News and thank you very much for watching our show tonight. In international news, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Thursday blamed NATO for the war in Ukraine and said he would resist calls to condemn Russia in comments that cast a doubt over whether he would be accepted by Ukraine or the West as a mediator. The war could have been avoided if NATO had heeded the warnings from amongst its own leaders and officials over the years that its eastward expansion would lead to greater, not less, instability in the region, Ramaphosa said in response to questions in Parliament. He said that South Africa cannot condone the use of force and violation of international law, an apparent reference to the Russia 24th of February invasion of Ukraine. Ramaphosa also revealed that Putin had assured him personally that negotiations were making progress. The South African leader said he had not yet spoken to Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, but he wanted to. On Friday, Ramaphosa said South Africa had been asked to mediate in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. He did not mention who had asked him to intervene. In sport news, there is good news for Namibia with regards to hosting the AFCON 2027 and so much more. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sunset News, and here are your sports news. The Namibian government was approached by Botswana to co-host the 36th edition of the African Cup of Nations in 2027, and according to those in the know, it looks like the cabinet has given them a green light. The Richelieu Franchise T20 series takes place for the third year in a row and will see 4 Namibian franchise teams battling it out for top honors over the next 2 weekends. The tournament starts today at the Trasco United Field and continues with matches tomorrow and Sunday at the same venue. The Helau Nafidi Town Hall will be the place to be this weekend when the Together as One Pod 6 Independence Boxing Bonanza takes place. Now, after the break, we wrap up the show with your highlights. Stay with us.
The My Property Show provides viewers with the best-in-class property content, from looking for the perfect house to transforming it to the perfect home, with focus on interior designing, transforming your garden into a tranquil haven, to going green and having the funds and security of financing and insurance. The My Property Show has it all. Tune in and make your house a home with our monthly My Property Show on Wednesday evenings at 6:30 on all the NMH Facebook platforms and our website TV channel 1up2, 1up2.com.
Thank you for watching Sunset News, and if you've missed it earlier, here are the top stories. After several failed attempts, the Health Ministry has announced that it is now on track to set up dialysis units in many of the country's public hospitals, while it hopes to install 6 dialysis chairs at the Katutura Hospital TB unit by the end of this financial year. Various types of drugs to the value of more than 4 million Namibian dollars were seized last month, while police arrested 106 suspects in connection with the drug matters. Of these suspects, 98 were Namibian, while 2 were from South Africa, 2 Zimbabweans, a Congolese, and a Zambian national. Cannabis was the most seized drug, followed by heroin. President Hage Geingob officially inaugurated the 7th vessel in the Debmarine Namibia fleet, the 7 billion Benguela gem, in the port of Walvispaai this morning. Debmarine Namibia is the single biggest private service contributor to the Namibian economy, and the Benguela gem is expected to produce up to 500,000 carats of diamond annually, generating the revenue of up to 3 billion Namibian dollars per annum. And with that, we've come to the end of today's broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook and on all major platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website OneUp2. Sunset News screen on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 94 every weekday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. My name is Aina Raisa Kweyo. This is Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.